Have you ever sat down for brunch, opened the menu, and just stared? You see, avocado toast, $14, and you think, wait, what? How is a piece of bread with some green stuff on it the price of a movie ticket? Well, today, we are going to solve that mystery. And you might be surprised to find out that the answer is, well, it's pretty much everything. So let's just get right to it. This is the central question, the one that haunts brunchgoers all across the country. Why on earth does this avocado toast cost $14?
You see, the answer isn't just one single thing. It's not just the price of avocados. It's not the cafe's rent. It's literally the entire field of economics, the whole shebang, all packed onto one single, maybe slightly overpriced slice of toast.
To understand this, we have to start at the very beginning. So for Section 1, let's talk about the first and honestly the hardest lesson in all of economics. You just can't have everything. It all comes down to one simple, kind of brutal fact of life called scarcity. We all want stuff, right? Food, clothes, a TV that's bigger than your neighbor's. But here's the thing. There just isn't an infinite amount of any of it to go around. If we had unlimited pizza, we wouldn't even need economics. But we don't. And because we don't, we're forced to make choices.
And every single one of those choices comes with this little invisible price tag. We call it opportunity cost. It's simply the value of the next best thing you didn't do. So right now, by choosing to watch this, you've given up the opportunity to watch cat videos on the internet. And for that, we thank you.
Okay, so if everything is scarce and we're always making trade-offs, how does anything, let alone your breakfast, actually get made? Well, that brings us to Section 2, how markets make your breakfast.
At the heart of any market is this constant push and pull. You, the buyer, you want that toast for as cheap as possible. But the cafe, the seller, wants to charge as much as they can. It's this fundamental tug of war, and it's all driven by what we want.
So how does this battle ever get settled? Well, it happens at a point economists call the equilibrium price. You can think of it as the sweet spot, that kind of magical number where the amount of toast being made perfectly matches the amount of toast people want to buy. Everybody's happy. Or, happy enough.
But don't let that magic talk fool you. The market isn't some mystical, all-knowing force. It's not magic at all. It's just math. It's desire. It's a little bit of desperation. It's the totally natural outcome of millions of people just like you all trying to get what they want.
All right, let's zoom out. We've looked at one piece of toast. Now let's look at the entire economy. Section 3, the economy's massive price tag. So how do we measure all of this buying and selling? We use a little something called gross domestic product, or GDP. I know the formula looks intimidating, but it's actually super simple. It's just consumption, that's you buying the toast, plus investment, that's the cafe buying a new coffee machine, plus government spending on stuff like roads, and then you add in net exports. That's it. That's the whole economy right there. Now, speaking of that G for government spending, when the government spends more than it takes in through taxes, it has to borrow money, and that borrowing really adds up. This number right here, that's the U.S. national debt. It's a number with so many zeros, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. And that brings us to another big reason your toast is more expensive this year than it was last year. Inflation. The simplest way to think about it is this. It's what happens when there's more and more money out there chasing the exact same amount of stuff. When everybody has more cash to spend, but the number of avocados in the world hasn't changed, prices have to go up. It's just that simple.
But hang on, that avocado didn't just magically appear in the cafe kitchen. It had to get there from somewhere. So for Section 4, let's follow your toast's world tour. This whole global journey is possible because of a powerful idea called comparative advantage. Let's look at this chart. Brazil is really good at growing coffee, and Canada is really good at growing corn. So instead of both trying to grow both things poorly, they specialize. Brazil goes all in on coffee, Canada goes all in on corn, they trade with each other, and boom, everybody ends up with more stuff for less effort. It's the basic logic behind all global trade.
But that amazing global system is also incredibly fragile. I mean, do you remember when that one ship, the Ever Given, got stuck sideways in the Suez Canal? It caused a global traffic jam that cost the world economy an estimated $10 billion a day, all because of one single boat.
Okay, so we've covered the huge global markets and the delicate supply chains that bring the toast to your plate. But that still doesn't answer the question of why you decided to buy it. So for Section 5, let's look at why your brain buys the toast. Here's the thing.
It turns out we're not the perfectly rational, calculating robots that old-school economics used to think we were. Nope, we are chaos merchants. Our brains do all sorts of weird stuff. We think $5 right now is way better than $50 in a year. We feel the pain of losing $20 way more intensely than the joy of finding $20. And we will absolutely sit through a terrible movie just because we already paid for the ticket. Our brains are weird, wonderful, and totally irrational. All of this, the scarcity, the markets, our weird brains, it all leads to one final, really big question. Section 6. Who gets to eat?
At the end of the day, every society, every country has to answer three basic questions. What are we going to make? How are we going to make it? And who gets the stuff once it's made? Now, the two big systems we always talk about, capitalism and socialism, they have very different answers to those questions. One says let the market and profits decide. The other says let's decide as a collective, based on need. But here's the reality check. Pretty much no country on Earth is 100% one or the other. The real world is messy. Almost every nation is what we call a mixed economy, a blend of free markets with some government rules and safety nets. It's always a spectrum, always a mix.
And that brings us all the way back to our slice of toast. We've seen all the ingredients that go into its price, from global trade and scarcity, all the way to the weird quirks of our own psychology. It leaves us with one final, massive question. What is the perfect recipe for an economy? Well, the ongoing, passionate, and really important debate over that answer, that's what economics is all about.